pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Gilson?
Here.
Pelosi?
Present.
Pat? Here. Hilshewski? Here. Munns?
Here.
Funkhauser?
Here.
Spears?
Present.
Teeling?
Here.
One established.
Do we have any amendments to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, no presentations. We do have one public hearing. So I will entertain a motion to go into public hearing for bond refinancing. So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're open for public hearing. Do we have any members from the public who would like to speak on bond refinancing? I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, do we have any citizens here who would like to make a comment? Any citizen comments? Now where it's time tonight, nobody comes. Okay, no citizen comments. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Larry, so moved. Any comments or questions on the consent agenda? I guess you don't have comments or questions. Roll call, please.
Pelosi?
Aye.
Hilshewski?
Aye.
Spears?
Aye.
Munns?
Aye.
Funkhauser?
Aye.
Gilson?
Aye.
Teeling?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the City Council for July 26, 2011 as presented.
So moved.
Second. Comments on minutes.
I actually have one thing. I just gotta find it because I thought we were doing bills. Does anyone else have something while I look? No.
Jackie?
Page 1, under presentation, we have Officer Matt. She's a detective. I'd like the minutes to reflect that, please. Same page, under Bill McHugh. There's just some grammar. Second line, you say use me instead of him. And then 2 lines down, I instead of he. Page 2, first paragraph about middle way down, there's a sentence, there is no way that a child who has lost his mother, it should be from. And then under Phil Porter on the same page, I don't know how, it doesn't make sense. He said the city must decide during this difficult time with the housing industry, villages, and tax bases, the impact it has on the cities. I think he said it, instead of the impact, it was something that the tax basis was subject to what was going on with the city's revenue streams. Yeah, I listened to it, and it is hard to understand what he said, but I think he said it was subject to what was going on. Yeah. Then under Craig Marker, he works for Richard Marker Associates. Same page under Jeremy Canavan, the last page, asks the city to consider, it's not the status, it was one of the staff's options.
And that was under Jeremy?
Yes. The last line, asks the city to consider one of the staff's options. Page 3. Under the corrections, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 line down. It says page 9, first paragraph, there was spelled incorrectly. I don't know what was spelled incorrectly. You probably want to. And then 3 lines after that, it says it should state it right away. It should have stated it right away. same paragraph under the corrections and probably midway down, administrative contracts be moved from the consent agenda to the end of the meeting. Contracts, I think it said the vote on the contracts needed to be reflected. Further down in that paragraph too, you have Houston spelled wrong. And seeing I live on there, I like to have it corrected. It's H-E-U-S-T-I-S. Then on page 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 line down, 7th line down, it says, Mr. Johnson, you have stated confirms. I think he confirmed Alderman Teeling's statement.
Can I just say something, because that was the one I had?
Oh, okay.
I said that this is not rescinding the tax. It was just evening up the playing field for Raging Waves, because the tax is still in effect. So I wanted to make sure that he was understood that it wasn't rescinding the tax for all the other businesses in town.
And then on, did you have any?
That was the only one I
Okay.
had.
On page 5, if we could clarify the first paragraph, that the 1.5 inch instead of 1 inch, where we're talking about the water service line. So in the future, we know what we were talking about. And then on that same page, on the bottom there, before we go to the next ordinance, it says, Alderman Munn stated that the city council, that paragraph, you have discuss is spelled incorrectly. And then under that last ordinance we reference on that page, it says that Director Barksdale Noble, if the main issue was the arcing between the 2005 and 2008 codes, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, it's arc faults, not falls.
Well, and then farther on, and it's misspelled, it's arc fault, not arc falls. There's about 5 references that are incorrect.
So how do you spell it then? A-R-C-F-A-U-L-T?
So I don't know how you went that first sentence to read. It didn't.
It's not faulty was the issue in 2005.
And then farther down, there's 3 arc falls in that paragraph that need to be corrected. And then on the next page, on page 6, I had asked if the city, you had delegated, I just asked if the city had the proper equipment. I didn't use delegated in there. And then the same at the bottom on there, it said, the last line, so we need to, it should say we need to act on that and move on to the next motion. And then in the next sentence, under ordinance 2011-33, there's 2 references to arc falls. They have to be arc faults. So, and that was, I think that's all I had.
Good. I have 2 of them. Page 6, 3rd line. It says square D or W. I think it's square D or double D. Is that correct? Okay.
Squared
Square D or double D.
or double D?
And then I think it's 8th or 9th line down. It says Alderman Funkhauser. My last name spelled incorrectly on that one. I think we've caught all the other ones with the arc faults. That was, everything else has been picked up that I had.
Anyone else? Okay, so a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to mayor's report. I will entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Mark Harden as a building code official. So moved.
Second.
Chris. Mark is in the audience tonight. He comes to us from Texas. Just drove in today, actually. Very highly qualified. I know you all have seen his resume. He has 24 certifications from the ICC. He is a master code official, one of about 600 nationwide master code officials. And he is 3 tests away from becoming a master specialty inspector, of which there are none to this day. He would be the first if he accomplishes this goal. So, with that, any comments or questions on the appointment?
Carl, you want to mention the one other benefit?
Well, I just have to say it's the first time in the history of the United States that the state of Illinois actually took a job from the state of Texas. So I'm very happy to announce that Illinois finally took something from another state instead of being taken from. So welcome aboard.
Hey Gary, just for the record, do you want to add that his name in there and somewhere in the appointment under the agenda on the paper? His name's not on there at all, is it?
No, I had to write it in, yes. But I think it'll be in the record.
Is it how do you spell your last name, Mark?
H-A-R-D-I-E.
H-A-R-D-I-E?
D-I-E.
D-I-N. Got it. Thank you.
Mark Hardin.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, roll call, please.
Keeling,
Aye.
Gilson,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Munns,
Aye.
Spear,
Aye.
Colosimo,
Aye.
Funkhauser,
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, I would entertain a motion to approve the appointment of James Weaver to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Comments or questions on this appointment?
Well, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of information in the packet, but I asked, and evidently this man is from Grand Reserve, which I'm very happy about. I think it's a good addition for someone from Grand Reserve to be added to our Plan Commission.
I agree, they are definitely underrepresented.
Yes.
Anyone else? No?
I just wanted to say that I've had a lot of contact with him, and he is, in my opinion, very intelligent, and he researches, and I think he's going to be a great fit.
I think by trade he is a fireman. He works for a fire protection district.
Yeah, I do know Mr. Weaver. He is very good. He's dedicated. He is a firefighter, as you said. I've talked to him about this position, and he is excited about it, and I think he will do a good job. He's been in their place for quite a while, and I don't see them going anywhere, and he really does have a strong care about this community. I think he'll do very well in this position.
All right, sounds like I won't get any hate mail on this. Roll call, please.
Spears,
Aye.
Colosimo,
Aye.
Funkhauser,
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Keeling,
Aye.
Gilson,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Munns.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, next I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution to induce the redevelopment of certain property within the Yorkville downtown tax increment redevelopment project area, Imperial Investments, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? I don't know, Kit, did you want to just introduce this real quick?
What this is what is called an inducement resolution. In order to receive the benefits of the TIF Act, you have to always maintain a but-for. So if the developers are required, if they want to be reimbursed ultimately for any eligible redevelopment project costs, they must advise the municipality right up front that they're going to be coming forth at some juncture with redevelopment proposals in order to safeguard their ability or the eligibility of the costs they're incurring while they're putting this plan together. We are asked to do an inducement resolution. So this inducement resolution puts this city council on notice that we have a company interested in redeveloping at least, they're interested in redeveloping 17 acres in our downtown TIF, and that in the future we will probably be receiving specific proposals. And with these proposals, you will have to decide what incentives you think would be appropriate. This does not commit you to anything other than you must listen. But it does safeguard the developer the developer's right to approach you with costs that he will, she will, it will be incurring as of this date. Does it?
No,
That makes sense?
Just a few questions, and if I'm out of bounds here, or anybody doesn't want to answer, maybe that's fine too, but can anybody tell me who does Imperial Improvements consist of? Who are the officers of that?
Investments.
Investments.
Imperial Investments, the owner is Rick Tollefson.
They're present
in the crowd.
at this meeting.
Do we have any idea of what, and like I said, I know this isn't relative, but what improvements we're talking about here? Have any plans on that you're on the board with now? Are you thinking of?
We've submitted in a private meeting just sort of a general broad brushstroke plan, nothing specific. We were told we had purchased some property, and we were told that would be okay, but then we were informed that the but-for and these provisions must take place in order to execute on any TIF that we might utilize in the future. And
Well, a general plan was submitted to Gary?
It's a picture and a concept plan for the downtown tip with some ideas. At this juncture, to my understanding, is the developer is in the process of acquiring an interest in this property, so that it was just as was stated, a broad stroke. I think you can, there's no plan, but the pictures are pretty, and you can see something there with the city administrator.
Would it be appropriate to share those with us? Just out of curiosity now, or can we know what that's all about? Or?
It's difficult now because it's still concept and there's still
They're too
private
preliminary.
negotiations.
I know, I understand. It has nothing to do with this, but
Yeah, but feel free to go in and check them out.
are they sitting somewhere we could see them?
I have a copy in my office.
They're not pertinent to the actual resolution at hand, which is why we didn't include them, and I'm not sure that the developer is willing to release his exact vision for the buildings yet. So that's, I think, still under concept.
Good, thank you.
I just think that we have a TIF there, so we should just use it if we have it, especially if someone is coming in. I mean, of course, we're going to look at what they're doing and use the TIF. I think that would make sense.
Carl?
Just several things. First of all, the ordinance and the memorandum all refer to Imperial Investments, Inc. And after we looked that up on the Secretary of State's website, that's not, it's an LLC. So I just want to make sure we're dealing with the correct. Yeah, it's Imperial Investments LLC, so make sure we change all the documents over to an LLC. And second of all, we're not committing any funds at this point. We're just saying that we're going to listen. I appreciate the position the developer's in because there are negotiations going on, and sometimes people don't want to reveal their hand. So I understand that's an aspect of it. So at this point, I have no issue with issuing this the way it is, and then once they do actually acquire whatever properties they're imagining, we'll deal with it at that time.
And I too, I'm not trying to press you. I don't know much about this, and I was just curious what it's all about. So, I don't have any problem with looking at it in the future for TIF funding if that's what this is all about.
Well, it's just anticipatory.
Correct.
At this point, we're looking at a variety of things, and if there's in the TIF, we certainly want to take advantage of that. And so it's just anticipatory, and this is the instructions that we must follow,
Right.
whether we act upon it or not. So.
If they did not approach the city and advise the city that in the future, when they do have plans, they will be coming forward, they would lose the right to consider any of the costs they're incurring to develop the plan.
Have we been doing this for all developers coming forward in the TIF? Because I don't.
We have not had a situation where it was prospective. We had people coming forward in the past where they owned the property as of the date they came to the city, so that the cost of acquisition and the planning for it was not one of the eligible redevelopment costs for them because they already owned it. So this is a new experience for us, yes.
Okay, thank you.
We've done this resolution for Tuscan Plaza, correct?
By the time Custom Plaza came forward, I believe they had a contract on the property and a plan.
What about Tuscan Plaza?
Yeah, I think they did. I don't recall.
I mean, Paul Daniels' property.
He owned it.
There's an agreement.
He owned it. So the procedure, and this is a good thing to talk about, this requires a different procedure for the very reasons you point out.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
These gentlemen should feel very special then, because this is unique and a new procedure.
Roll call, please.
Gilson.
Aye.
Hut.
Aye.
Munns.
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Teeling.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the transfer of escrow funds of the special service area payment for 164B Bertram Drive, the Rain Tree Park improvements in the Yorkville Business Center water main improvements, to a new escrow account with the Illinois Metropolitan Fund and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
Still moved?
Second?
Comments or questions on this one? These resolutions have to be this long?
In this case, yes, unfortunately.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Hut.
Aye.
Munns.
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Teeling.
Aye.
Gilson.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving right along. A motion to approve an ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement between the United City of Yorkville and the State of Illinois Department of Transportation for the reconstruction of Illinois Route 47 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
Second?
Okay, this is the agreement that you have seen before with two major changes to it. One is removing all the aesthetic components that we had talked about before, and three is the city's portion of the project has been spread out over a 10-year repayment plan. As it says in the memo, I approached House Minority Leader Cross when we found out River Road Bridge had to be accelerated and we needed funding for it, which we did not have. So I reached out to Tom to see if there's anything the state can do to help us with funding for River Road Bridge. And basically there wasn't really anything they could do on the bridge, but we did talk to IDOT and kind of brokered this deal to where we could change our repayment to the state on Route 47 improvements from 3 years to 10 years, which is huge because it's interest-free and just from a cash flow perspective, it helps us out immensely. And we can always prepay it, but at 0% interest, I don't see why we would. So that's where it stands. Any comments or questions on Route 47 agreement? I'll start on this side.
Yeah, well, first I wanted to thank Representative Cross for getting that done, the 10-year payment plan. Obviously, it's going to help the city immensely. I did have some questions in the final agreement. Just for clarification, when we go to, and there's really no page indicator, so it's kind of hard for me to, it's PDF, page 117. There's paragraphs X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and double A, I'm sorry. The barrier walls, 100% state cost, the request of the state barriers. I wasn't aware that the walls were going to be colored as well. Is that what that's saying?
Partially colored, and then the actual physical design of the wall is slightly upgraded from what they would normally do. So and we talked about this probably a year and a half ago when we were talking about the different sidewalk cross sections in the downtown. The Texas type bridge rail and then fascia is actually there's like a square rectangular design that is three-dimensional. So instead of it looking like an interstate median, it's going to have some sort of rectangular design in it.
Okay, and for paragraph Y, we requested that the mediums have topsoil instead of concrete, but that requires an IDOT permit, obviously, to, when we actually go in to put in the vegetation.
Yes.
Is there a cost associated with the permit? Do we have to renew it every year? What's the permitting process for us to be able to maintain that area?
Good question.
I believe it has to do with, they'll look at the seed content, the seed mix, to make sure it's a salt-tolerant variety, and then we have the proper depth of topsoil. It's just it's a very basic permit that just lets them know what we're doing, and then we'll include that.
Is there a cost associated with that? No?
It
Okay.
should
And do we
be
have to do
one
it
time.
annually? Just, okay.
No, it's just procedural to let them know what's going on.
And then, the paragraph double A talks about that the actual installing of the lighting fixtures is not part of the project. And we got those fancy lights that we all liked, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. So, do we have a cost above and beyond the 2.3 million or whatever the final cost is estimated for us to then go in and put those lights in? That's addition to the 2.3 million.
Yeah, I believe it's the stretch from Salmonock all the way down to 126. They're actually going to be installing the base and running the conduit for us, which is what this states. And we are not, as part of that 2.3 million, constructing any of those decorative lights, so we can do that after the fact via permit as well. I believe the total cost for that entire stretch was $1.1 million. So some of it's in the downtown TIF and may be eligible for those funds. Some of it we can just do on a piecemeal basis as we can afford it.
And who's installing those lights? We are?
It would be either us or would we hire a contractor to do that if we had 20 or 30 of them, or?
It would depend on the situation at the time. We are capable of installing them, like Bart said, in a onesie-twosie fashion, but if it was 30 at a time, we may consider it.
So the $2.3 million that we're paying doesn't include the fancy lights fixtures? No. So why was that even an option of something we can cut when we were talking about cutting from the project?
There are certain light fixtures in the downtown at intersections that are upgraded from the standard. So instead of being an aluminum metal pole with one light, there are some that are being installed that are black powder coated. There's a decorative design on them, and there's a pedestrian level light and a roadway level light. So there could have been some savings there. And then additionally, you also could have removed the actual conduit and the bases.
So we're looking at another $1.1 million for these lights?
Yeah, if we want to put them in.
Well, I mean, we got to put them in, don't we? Otherwise, you're going to have a pretty dark Route 47?
Yeah, it'll be essentially the same lighting structure that's in place now.
So those lights, so IDOT is putting in their lights for Route 47? The what?
The intersections, like at Van Emmon, will have the pedestrian crossing and the overhead lights that are there now.
Okay, and I'm not just talking about traffic control lights, I'm talking about lights for illumination, for public safety, for, so they're installing those type of lights as well, or is that the 1.1 million we're on the hook for now?
We're on the hook for it.
Now, that's new information that we weren't aware that we were paying $1.1 million above and beyond for lights.
There's more. I'm ready when you're done.
Okay.
Just a clarification on the pedestrian crosswalks. I know we talked about this, I think, at Public Works. According to this document, other than where there's traffic signals, the only one they're going to have or the flashing sign is going to be at Orange Street. Does that mean we're not going to have one at Main and Hydraulic like we have today, or how is that going to work? Because we need them there.
Hydraulic, definitely not. The way that the median is going to be constructed right there is going to physically restrict somebody from crossing at Hydraulic because it's not safe with the distance of the railroad tracks. At Main, though, I believe there is a three-sided crosswalk there.
There's a crosswalk, but I don't believe it's got the blinking light.
Okay.
So for our downtown, we're only going to have one official crosswalk, and that's going to be at Van Emmon.
Correct.
Which it actually should be because there's a light. That was a suggestion from many people because of the light. You always move people at the light. Because it will have the pedestrian crosswalk signals, and you'll have the walk, don't walks as well. And with it being 1 block long, it's probably, to walk 400 feet to safely cross Route 47 is probably pretty good.
I'm just concerned when we finally decide on additional parking, getting people across, hopefully don't want to cross the highway and go to other businesses, and making it halfway convenient for somebody to do so. And having only one, I just wonder if that's going to work.
Yeah, the only other options there to safely do that would be to construct either an overpass or an underpass, so.
George?
I guess first of all, lead off with asking, does this have to be approved tonight?
No, certainly not. We have until the end of September is kind of their deadline for approval. And then after that, we're risking delay to the project.
Okay. And the reason I asked that, I might have a lot of questions. I think a lot of them are probably going to have to be discussed again. So at the end, I may ask to have it tabled.
Well, before you table that, I wanted to have another comment.
Sure, yeah. First question I had was on the memo, page 2, which would be, it says page 2, from Mr. Popovitz. Okay. The responsibility for obtaining reimbursement of federal STPU funds from CMAP via IDOT District 1 for emergency preemption units. That's 25%, correct?
I believe our form of that is 25%.
Right, that we're going to be on the hook for obtaining that.
And I believe we've already had that awarded to us.
It's appropriated, you just have to draw it.
That was my next question. Does CMAP have it? Is it available?
Yes.
Okay. This is only related to the first section, correct? The 3.25 miles or whatever it is that we are discussing here now, correct?
This is for
This
the whole
agreement.
project, correct?
Yes.
So it's for the whole project?
Yes.
Oh, but by the whole project, you mean the whole Route 47
That's what I
project, the
mean.
3.25 miles, not 71, not 34, those future
Right.
projects?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole Route 47 project.
Okay. On page 2 of the email between Bart and Mr. Popovitz, it states the share of the lighting to be at 20%. And I think in the agreement it says 25%. Is it 20 or 25%?
I will check. If I had to hazard a guess, the agreement is probably correct.
Item BB, the vacation at Jefferson Street. Will that entail eminent domain of any related properties there?
No, I believe all the properties there have been acquired by the state or are owned by the city. Or there's a use agreement with the property owner.
And FF, the 40 bioswales that they're talking about, how much potential costs are we going to have there? And is eminent domain part of that? Are we going to have to eminent domain any property to make these bioswales?
I don't believe there's any eminent domain outstanding. I believe the state has acquired all of its parcels, and we have too.
Or it's within an easement.
Okay, so acquisition isn't an issue for the project necessarily. As far as the cost of the bioswales,
Yeah, and there could be some maintenance in the future, taking out invasive species, but overall, it would probably be less maintenance than mowing, standard grass.
The reason I ask that, Jeff, is because in the agreement it says we're responsible for the bioswales, budget that I guess we have to come up with the money for the bioswales, correct?
No, just maintenance. The construction for the bioswales and actually the storm sewers is all on the state and federal funding. It's just the maintenance of the bioswales.
but once they complete the project, then they're basically going to hand us the keys and tell us to maintain it.
Just bear with me a second, okay? You know what page it is, Bart, off the top of your head, where item FF is?
It is not paged.
Well, it's just finding it here. Here we go. FF. City is elected to utilize vegetative open channel drainage, what is also referred to as vegetative bioswales, which serves as a multi-purpose drainage. while retaining water runoff and providing natural conveyance of water back into the ground, proper vegetation and maintenance of these features of private filtration water movement. Approximately 4 glass wells are to be constructed throughout the project. The state will assume full cost of purchasing the needed permanent easements and constructing the swales with the stipulation that the city will assume future responsibilities and costs of maintaining and repairing the described bioswales. Are these, when we say bioswales, are these major bioswales that we're talking about here? Or?
No, I mean, the quantity at 40 sounds like a lot, but they're typically just small stretches of bioswales.
Okay. The payment part, when we're talking about the 120 payments to the state for the portion of the project, have we budgeted for all these costs that we're talking about for our cost of this, and how much are those costs, those payments going to equate to?
The total payments are going to be $2.3 million, which is the cost of our local share of the project. We have budgeted this in the next 3 years to be paid for.
I see there's penalties in that, and some pretty steep ones at that, so everything's budgeted, and we've got that set in a budget to pay for those costs.
Yep, and then actually the 5-year budget that we're going to roll out here in the next couple months, rolled out this payment plan over a 10-year period is actually going to result in some savings to the city each year, because we obviously budgeted to pay for the project over 3 years, and now we're doing it over 10. Yeah.
And kudos to you, Gary, for that. You know, that was great. You did a great job to get that done. So, and Representative Cross. The other one Carlo took care of on the lighting, which was a big added cost that I agree we didn't know about. So is that budgeted for?
No, because there's no dedicated funds. It's in your integrated transportation plan. We've shown it on pretty much every plan that the state has put forth as far as locations for lights. It's just without a way to pay for it. We said put the bases in, we can install them later at our own cost on a pay-as-you-go method. And if we can't put them in, the conduits and bases are there for 10 years from now when we can for it.
But the standard lighting that lights up 47 now will remain in play. None of that lighting is coming down. So we're going to see the same light until these other lights go up at our discretion, based on whether or not we can afford putting those
That's
up.
the ornamentals that are downtown now. The ornamentals that are downtown, the short ones, will not be.
The short ones.
That's part of this. That's part of the project, the next project, not this project.
So, but
I believe we are taking those out.
Right.
We will get salvage value. We will have some of those lights to put back in.
But then the base will be there in the downtown.
Right, so all we have to do is full light.
So we're going to lose a couple in the downtown, but what we'll gain is, some of the intersections through the length of this project only have the roadway lighting. So in those cases, you'll have roadway and pedestrian lighting. So in some areas, it should be a little bit more lighting.
So with the ones being down in town, is that going to be any problem being able to see? I mean, what I'm asking is if we don't have the money for this and we can't come up with the surplus to put those in, if we delay that and delay it a year, 2, 3, whatever years, how many years we decide to delay it, there's not going to be a problem with safety.
No, I don't think so. And two, if we decide that we want to slash the cost of installing pedestrian lighting, you could put in a cheap light. You could put aluminum based in there, and then you'd have improved lighting, obviously, at a fraction of the cost. I know that was one of the big things that the ITP committee stated they wanted, just because usually when you drive through somebody's downtown, they've got those lights every 100 feet or so that are nice and decorative, and maybe have a flower planter on, so it improves the overall aesthetic value of the immediate area.
So just to clarify, the lights that are downtown now, we're not going to use. Are we using them temporarily? The older fashioned ones?
They'll be taken down before the project begins.
Okay. And then after the project, are we going to reuse them there?
That is at the discretion of.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we could. The green decorative
Until we
ones
can-
that are there now.
We'll probably recondition them when they're done.
Okay. Maybe just till we can get lights. We have some.
Just two final things. First of all, I understand how this agreement works. I understand we have very little negotiating power with the state to say, hey, you do this, you do that. I'm fine with that. But what I would like to know is I want transparency. I want to know at the end of the day, what do we have to pay for, how much is it going to cost, and how we're going to budget for it. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm not saying, I just want to know. I don't want to pass this and 6 months from now somebody tells me, oh, now you owe 1.1 million. If I would have found that out later, my head would have exploded if I had to pay $1.1 million for lights that I thought were included in the $2.3 million overall cost. So I just want to know. That's all I want. So before we vote on this, if I can get a list of what other costs we are responsible for outside of the $2.3 million, just so we know. And then we can go past it and we can go back to our residents and say, yes, we know this is how much it costs and we're going to budget for it.
Sure.
The other, to go with that, with the lights are going to be an issue. We need to figure out how we're going to budget for these for public safety reasons. I want to see a revitalized downtown where people are walking and families are there at night and shops are open and people are out and about. I don't want to see a dark, gloomy downtown area where people don't want to be. And I understand that the state's going to put in the lights at the intersections, but there are some areas where there's a good gap between these intersections. And if people are walking, kids are walking, riding their bikes on our new fancy bike trails, I want lights. So we're going to have to figure out a way for public safety purposes to get these lights in as soon as possible. And then finally, in section KK, it talks the Countryside Parkway is going to be used as a detour for some of the construction. I know trucks are going to go on there. Is there any plan for reimbursement from the state to help us repave Countryside Parkway and fix that area? Because these trucks are going to rip it up.
Countryside Parkway is, I believe it's east, it's the concrete road. It's made for 80,000 pound trucks.
Okay. Okay, so the east end of the country.
Yes.
Not the west.
I don't believe it's Countryside Parkway to Center Parkway to 34. I believe it's just the east leg.
And then down Cannonball.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and it's
I don't want to be left with this pothole-infested road that we now have to pay a couple $1 million to fix.
Sure. And as part of the budgeting for the lights, the good news is that most of the areas that you're probably going to want the lights are in the downtown TIF district. We have a little pot of money, obviously, that we can spend on lighting improvements. It'd be a TIF-eligible expense, I believe. And then, each year it replenishes itself to a certain degree, and you might be able to, get all the lights into the downtown.
Thank you.
Back to the lights over the bridge, are those going to change then?
No, the bridge is not getting touched at all.
Okay. So we would still have those. So when we go to do other lights, we're going to have to try to match them? You know what I'm saying?
In a similar style,
So-
perhaps. Which is a pretty popular style, if I remember correctly, when we picked it up. It's very, very universal, and it's not all that expensive if the council wishes to get them repainted and recolored.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the total cost of the black powder coating on some of the lights was only $8,000 or $10,000 for most of the pieces in the project. So
It's like you have a continuity going with the lights now.
certainly.
So it'd be nice to keep that character that we already have, or reuse what we have.
And I think I can pose the question, is anybody aware of any other items that were partially completing and then funding at a later date? The lights was the only one that I could think of off the top of my head. Obviously, like in the medians where there's going to be topsoil, eventually we might want to put some sort of flower or some sort of, bush to make it look nice. And so, that would be done after the fact.
I think you get the picture that I'm worried about a flower. I'm worried about $1.1 million popping up. That's just my concern.
Understood.
All right.
I just want to know if you can verify that Countryside Parkway is going to be rerouted only east, the truck traffic, because at one time we were told it was going to be west to get people back on 34. And then I also asked if we were going to be reimbursed. I think that's a good point.
Sure, we can get you a detour map. I know one exists.
I am almost positive it's just east because you can't, Countryside Parkway couldn't handle it westbound.
No, I mean, it's in bad
There's
shape
no
right now.
traffic control device.
Right, but there's a two-way stop.
Right.
You know,
There is a detour map out there? I mean,
Yeah.
this would be interesting in Ward 2, where, how are you going to detour there?
Yeah, we can pull out that section of plans and provide it to
I
everybody.
think that would be interesting to see how that's going to impact the older section.
Sure.
I have no clue how they're going to deter people over there.
Just one more question, clarification under 7F. The city pledges to have adequate funding, that part, where it says yet, subject to another adjustment payment amount following award of the contract and completion of the contract. The adjustment payment would be just a smaller amount based on what's left, or what does that mean? Clarify that.
7F?
Yeah, 7F, it talks about the 120 estimated 19,258.33 payments. You know, $19,258.33 each payments. And this is yet another adjustment payment, another adjustment payment amount following award of the contract and completion of the contract.
So they're basically going to estimate that our share at $2.3 million from the get-go. And so when the first payment is due, and I think that's when they actually start construction, it's an estimate. Or no, it's even before that.
When there's the estimate, then they're going to get the bid prices, and then they're going to have the final price.
Right. So basically, after each one of those trigger points, they're going to come back to us and say, okay, well, the paths end up costing less than we thought, so your total cost is going to go down, so we're going to revise your 120 year or 120 payments downward to reflect that. So
Or more, right?
correct. Yeah, we're on the hook for potential risk in prices going upward. So the good news is that we've taken, from a budgetary perspective, we've taken a very conservative estimate of the project and rolled it in over a 10-year period. So even if prices do end up going higher, I think we'll be able to afford it. Not that I want them to, but not that we want them to. We are, planning for that.
Okay, so you know what we have to come back with.
Yeah.
Detour map, any costs associated with the project that may pop up. What would you read that? Anyone else?
And then the question on the discrepancy between the 20 and 25% on the lighting between the metal and the agreement.
Is that it?
Those are the three things I had written down.
Could we request the state put page numbers on this document? It saved us a lot of time.
Just from a next step perspective, if you approve this, there are several agreements attached to the back and as exhibits. There will be some piggyback agreements that we'll have to approve at the next subsequent meeting. And it's all things related to enacting, commitments that we've made as part of the agreement. So there's appropriation of funds is one of them. There's right-of-way acquisition. It's all things we planned for and that are addressed in the agreement. It's just it requires a second vote.
Bart, on that detour map, is that been on the website or that, so the public can see it too, how it's going to affect residents?
It will be. I'm sure it's been made public maybe once or twice, but I'm not sure what forum. So
It's part of the plan set right now under the review process, so we can pull out those pages. I mean, the full plan set's 900 pages, so probably pulling it out.
I don't want the 900 pages. I just want the detour map. We talked about it here, though, the detour.
I thought so, but I mean,
It'd be nice to see it, at the public too, so I can see it's coming down the street.
I remember that.
So we want to bring this back in 2 weeks with some answers. And if we have any questions in the meantime, just email me, Bart, and hopefully have all the answers by next meeting. All right, so we will entertain a motion to table. So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll see that again in 2 weeks. Now I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance approving a memorandum of understanding between the United City of Yorkville and Wesley Property Corp. and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
So moved.
second.
So this is basically an agreement that F.E. Wheaton the city entered into many years ago for a stoplight at every week drive around 47. They funded some money, the city agreed to pay it back. We are looking to accelerate the repayment of it in order to save $60,000 that we possibly use for lights in downtown. So any comments or questions on this one?
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't have any issue with accelerating and saving $60,000 over 2 years. My question is, how do we budget? Where do we get the money to pay the $322,000 within, I think it says 10 days of approving this ordinance, we got to pay $322,000. Where's that coming from?
It'll come out of the sales tax rebate line item. You will exceed the amount that we had originally planned for, but between Rob and I, we have budgeted for this in the next fiscal year's budget that we're going to roll out as far as showing it. So we can afford it this year and still run a surplus, and it's not going to impact our cash flow. So that's why we recommended to do it, just because we're saving.
So how do we run a surplus if, I mean, we're chucking out $322,000 from this year's budget that we were planning for? Well, we were planning for a certain part of that, obviously. What was the payment going to be this year if we didn't do this?
Total about $900,000.
For this year?
Yeah.
No.
This year's payment.
No, this year's payment.
$100,000.
Okay, so we're really $222 above and beyond what we budgeted for.
Correct.
Go ahead, George.
So then, if we're $222,000 above and beyond what we budgeted as a line item, we're going to be $222,000 in the negative in that line item alone.
Correct. So by virtue of a special, motion to approve this, I mean, we could go through and basically edit that one line item and do a budget amendment. So it'd be like a revised budget for one individual line item. We did that with the contingency line item at the last meeting, I believe. So you could do that if you wanted to.
I guess what I want to know is, what Carlo I think was trying to get at was, if we're $222,000 in the negative on that one line item, and we run a zero or slight surplus, that's going to put us looking at negative in the budget.
I'm still projecting that even with this additional money, we're still going to be running significantly into the surplus.
I like the idea of saving $60,000, Mayor, but I think we need to find out where that money is going to come from, because, I don't want to see us saying we're going to pay it and then putting ourselves in the negative on a line item and then pushing it into next year and trying to add to next year's budget without knowing where these funds are going to be pulled from. But I think that's smart on behalf of the council.
We're not pushing any of this payment into next fiscal year's budget. I'm saying when we roll out the fiscal year 13 budget, it will show that the fiscal year 12 projected number is going to be $1.2 million instead of $900,000 for this line item. And even with that additional expense, I'm still projecting that we're going to run a significant surplus.
No, finish there.
No, go ahead.
I just have some comments on the ordinance itself. On the third paragraph, second line, new job opportunities, and I think we need to remove the is. And then the line below it, I would like to see Wesley in there instead of amount owed to it. Or is it? Oh, okay.
But we can put Wesley's fine.
And then the next page on section 2, I believe that should be the mayor and city council instead of president and board of directors. But we can always change our form of government. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, I don't
Refresh my memory, Mark. What have we, this year's budget, what have we projected that we're going to be in terms of the end of the year budget in the surplus?
Oh, the number escapes me right now because we've gone through so many iterations. Rob, do you have that number off the top of your head?
Yeah, we budgeted He adopted 763,882 for the surplus.
7 what?
$763,882.
That's our projected surplus?
Correct.
General fund?
That's the budgeted surplus.
Right.
So,
Based on what was adopted.
correct. And depending on which one of us you ask and at which day, or which time, that projection, is going to vary. So we are still projecting, I want to say it was upwards of $300,000 as surplus even with this payout.
My recent sheet says 555.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that'd be the difference between the 222 and the 763, right?
Close to it, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, because we promised to make that payment when we did to Wesley Property Corp., what have we accrued so far in interest by not paying them?
$62,000. So that's the amount that they're waiving. They're saying, you've borrowed that money from us at 0% interest for 7 years now.
Well, I guess I'm going to make the comment, I'm going to approve this, but I make the comment, we need to stick to our budget, and we need to make sure we find that surplus, and that surplus is applied here. I don't want to see, once again, us coming out with a zero or a negative surplus and adding this $222,000 on top of it.
Understood. I mean, if we were running a budget deficit, we probably wouldn't be able to even make a recommendation because we wouldn't be able to support it from a cash flow perspective. Right now, we're doing fairly well.
I was just going to say that this is money that's owed anyway, so next year, in next year's budget, we're going to have, it's already in that budget, or the projected one that you've made up for next year.
Correct.
So the amount that we have in that account to pay these people back next year is still, it's going to be in there.
Right.
So we're going to have, next year, that money isn't going to have to be paid out, but we're going to have it in there.
Correct.
I think that's what you were trying to say, right?
So that's one, that's one aspect of it.
Bart, do you think by doing this, obviously we put off a lot of road projects, we put off a lot of different things, and we're going to take $222,000 out of our general fund, just to say, pay this off now. Do you think that would be better applied, that surplus to roads in that, before we look at accelerating this payment?
No, because of the end results of approving this agreement, this is kind of the first step in a rollout of a future incentive agreement that will be in front of you in the next couple of weeks. That, in my opinion, is going to help pay for roads for a significant amount of time in the future. So it's one step towards an end result that is more beneficial than taking that money this year and putting it towards roads.
It'd just be nice for that to be communicated with us, so we know what that incentive agreement is and what we're looking at and what roads they're looking at helping us out with and that sort of thing. That's why I asked all the questions I did Gary, about what are we talking about here, what are we looking at. So.
Yeah, the biggest part of this is to facilitate the property sale. And this couldn't go through unless Wesley was out of the picture.
The sale wasn't going to go through unless...
Correct. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Spears.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Funkhalter.
Aye.
Vilshewski.
Aye.
Teeling.
Aye.
Gilson.
Aye.
Cott.
Aye.
Muns.
Aye. I just understand that some of these, it's very hard to communicate some of these things because there's so much going on from a development perspective. And, I feel for Lynn, because I know Lynn wants to come out here and make reports all the time. There's so much that's sensitive that it's very...
Yeah, but they make a general conception plan and they've got something, share that with us. It's nice for us to know what it is, and if they've got, that entails maybe paying out some streets, some things that we don't know about. It helps when we make these decisions, that's all.
Okay, where are we at? 7. A motion to approve an ordinance approving... No, we did that one. A motion to approve an amended collective bargaining agreement between the Illinois FOP Labor Council representing Yorkville Sergeants and the United City of Yorkville and authorize the mayor and chief of the police to execute. So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Spears.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Wilczewski. Aye. Teeling.
Aye.
Gilson.
Aye.
Cott.
Aye.
Muns.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, no public works, no EDC, no public safety, no annual committee report. We do have a park board report. Now I entertain a motion to approve the resolution authorizing signatures for parks and recreation account with Castle Bank and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
So moved.
Second. Comments or questions on this one?
Well, I just had a question. In the memo it says, I mean, the reason we're passing this is for efficiency purposes. I know there was lag time in getting aldermen or park board members to sign these checks, so the four of you can sign the check. But then there's this provision in the memorandum that says that all the checks would be reviewed by the interim director of parks or the park board president prior to the board, the check being signed. And what's the purpose of them looking at the physical check before you guys actually sign them?
That was what the park board wanted. I didn't have a problem with that. Usually the checks are done, before the meeting, so it would be easy enough if the interim director wanted to review the checks that she could.
Is it required before you guys sign the checks?
That's not required. It's just it's a park board preference. And I didn't have an issue with it, so I said, if the director wanted to look at the checks for the park board, we could certainly do that.
I feel like a final reconcile between the checks and the bill list is essentially what they're asking for.
If you're fine with it, I'm fine with it.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Wilczewski. Aye. Teeling.
Aye.
Gilson.
Aye.
Cott.
Aye.
Muns.
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Do we have any plan commission report?
No report.
ZBA?
No report.
No city council report, city clerk?
No report.
City treasurer? No report. Community and liaison reports? Diane?
Alderman Spears and I had a neighborhood watch meeting in Bristol Bay. Not a lot of people attended, but I still think it was good to have. And one of the residents that was there had a problem with people driving through the corn, or the bean field, I think it's bean field now, right? And the driveways to get around those barricades to go out on that road that's not a road to get to 47. And from what I understand, they actually got a license plate number, so did you check in onto that?
No problem.
Yay. So that should alleviate that problem, hopefully.
Anyone else?
You have to be patient because I attended a lot of different meetings and could report. I'll try to go quickly. On August 12th, I attended the Area and Agencies Board of Directors meeting, and the board approved the following unconditional grant renewal funding for Kendall County for fiscal year 2012. The grants went to Community Nutrition Network that provides home-delivered meals throughout Kendall County, Kendall County Health Department, and that provides caregiver counseling services for Kendall County residents. Oswego Land Seniors provides Community Connection Center services, as well as congregate meals. Prairie State Legal Services for Kendall County seniors, and Senior Services Associates, and that provides outreach, transportation, and also serves as a caregiver resource center. Appointment to the Board of Directors position that is representing Kendall County. The recommendation and consensus of the nominating committee to the full Board of Directors was the appointment of Jessica Bannister of Oswego to fill the board vacancy, representing Kendall County through 2011 or 2013. Jessica is a member of the Task Force for Senior Fairness, a precinct committeeman, and Legislative Chair of Kendall County Republican Women. Jessica Bannister resides in Oswego and currently works as a public benefits specialist at Elder Law. Her responsibilities include public education. This includes serving on the task force for senior fairness, which Mrs. Bannister spearheaded to change the Medicaid rules related to gifting. Her professional expertise is in Medicare and Medicaid, and her passion also includes public education and awareness of identity theft and fraud. And she is just well qualified. And another update on the Veterans Independence Program, VIP. As I previously reported, nearly 25 million Americans are veterans of the military. In 2008, the Veterans Health Administration and the Administration on Aging formed a partnership to develop a pilot program. This program would provide veterans with a new way to receive home and community-based services as an alternative to nursing home care. This program offers eligible veterans the least costly and most beneficial services to meet their disability needs. Veterans use a flexible budget to purchase services that help them live independently at home. It's designed to meet the identified needs of the veteran to assure health and safety and provide a feasible alternative to nursing home care. The program goals are to maintain veterans' ability to remain at home, enhance community and family support, decrease dependency on formal support services. And various services are provided through this program to the veterans. They get a comprehensive assessment, veteran-directed home-based goods and services, options counseling and support services, financial management services, caregiver support, and also home-delivered meals. The primary services offered are personal assistance, homemaking services, yard care, snow removal, home modification, cleaning services, paid caregiving to family, relatives, and various home-delivered meal programs. And to be eligible for this program, they can be of any age. They must be seen by a VA primary care physician. They really need to be interested in self-directed care, in need of nursing home care, and there is no specific income level that's required to participate. And the benefits would be reduction in healthcare expenditures, enough to pay for itself within the first year, and it has a positive effect on physical and emotional health and health-related quality of life. As of February 3rd, 2011, Illinois had 61 veterans enrolled in the program, and there was a monthly budget range from $1,500 to $3,500. And there's an estimated cost savings to the state of $152,000 per month. And without this program, the majority of these veterans would have received various services from other state programs. Okay, just a few more. I wanted to announce that Friends of the Yorkville Library is going to be hosting their annual used book sale on Saturday, September 3rd, and Sunday, September 4th. And last year's books were extremely, testing, successful. What they're looking for right now, and I believe you still have time to drop off your books and magazines, and let's see, at the library. And the proceeds from the sale will purchase new books for the library. And this year they're going to have a raffle for a quilt. Okay, Community Nutrition Network. This year, CNN will be celebrating 25 years of service. They coordinate staff and volunteers to provide and deliver nutritious meals for the Meals on Wheels clients. Last week I had the pleasure of attending their annual volunteer recognition luncheon in Morris. Since 2001, CNN raised $6 million for the program, and they served 10 million meals. And I'd like to add, not one meal was responsible for any kind of food poisoning. The Meals on Wheels Foundation serves meals for Kendall and Grundy counties, and any money that is raised in each community stays in that community. There's the 16th Annual Senior Lifestyle Expo that is coming up next week. The Area on Aging is presenting this expo. It will be held on Tuesday, August 30th and Wednesday, August 31st at the Drury Lane Theater and Convention Center in Oak Brook Terrace. And they provide free parking. The facility is fully carpeted and handicapped accessible, and they will have food concessions available. And this year's theme is Fab 50s. So they're encouraging people to wear your poodle skirts and your saddle shoes and your t-shirts rolled up. There's going to be 90 exhibitors, and they're going to have a sock hop on Tuesday, August 30th. Entertainment is going to be a sing and swing duet, a doo-wop quartet, senior idol auditions, winners, and finalists, a game show challenge. And they have various health and wellness programs, treatment education for osteoporosis for the hip and knee, body mass index consultation, fall risk and balance assessment, diabetes and pain management, and women's health. And they have educational seminars planned. Protect Seniors campaign, which is hosted by AARP. What is long-term care? 6 steps to a secure retirement. ABCs and Ds of Medicare. And the Senior Lifestyle Expo supports the Holiday and Meals program. And for additional information, you can contact the Agency on Aging at 1-800-528-2000 or visit the website www.ageguide.org. I think there's one more. Yes, protect yourself and your senior loved one. And this is going to be another program that will be taking place, I believe it begins at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. And the way they're describing it is 1 in 4 seniors will be a victim of financial crime. It's estimated that seniors make up 75 to 90% of all con games and fraud victims. And as a result, seniors will suffer from over $40 billion in losses each year. And they're going to provide light refreshments, and it will begin, the meet and greet at 6 o'clock, and at 6:30 they're going to have keynote speakers from Kane County Sheriff's Office, Southeast Kane Triad, Elgin Police Department, and Elgin Township Triad. And it will surely assist the participants with identifying scams and frauds, what is financial exploitation, when to call adult protective services, and when do you call the police. That's all I have.
Anyone else? I had a busy day today, hence the tying suit, hobnobbing with elected officials. I started out with a breakfast with Congressman Holkman, where we had talked about some of our transportation issues and what kind of help we can get from the federal level. Also asked him, last time the staff was here, we talked about some federal funding for more police officers. As you know, you all received an email that we did authorize the hiring of 3 new police officers. I asked the congressman if there was any help out there at the federal level as far as grants to get more cops on the street. They did provide me with a bunch of information on some Department of Justice grants that are coming out. I turned all that over to the chief to look through and decipher, but hopefully there's something out there that can help us put a couple more cops on the street, because I know the chief has been hamstrung for quite some time, due to staffing and some guys who have been out. So hopefully 3 new officers will help with a lot of the scheduling. Also invited him to our Patriots Walk on September 11th. He'll get back to us on that. It's going to be at 8:46 Sunday morning, September 11th, 10-year anniversary of the Patriots Walk. So So hopefully everyone will be there for that. And also with Congressman, we will be hosting a town hall meeting in these chambers next Monday. So it should be interesting. I heard there's one outside, which was somewhat interesting. Then I attended the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus this afternoon. For those of you not familiar with the caucus, it was something started under Mayor Daley, and it was when he organized kind of his vision to unite the mayors from the 6-county region, get all these mayors together as a unified force to share concerns on certain issues and work together towards resolution of certain common challenges that we face. So this was attended by about 90 mayors today. It was down at Willis Tower in Chicago. Ron Emanuel was there. It was his 100th day in office. So he spoke about the importance of working together and the importance of the caucus. They talked about the structure of the caucus. There are several committees. There's an environmental committee headed by Mayor Tom Weisner, Housing and Community Development Committee chaired by Mayor Jeff Sherwin, Transportation headed by Jeffrey Scheitel from Batavia, Committee on Diversity Issues, Service Delivery, and Legislative Committee. I asked to be on the Transportation Committee. I think that's one of the challenging areas that we face as a community, so it would be nice to have a voice in this caucus on transportation issues. Got all kinds of notes in here that I was going through, but it was interesting. Ron talked about, he just had lunch today with Ray LaHood from the Transportation Secretary, talked about the highway bill that's getting ready to sunset on September 30th. If that expires, there will be no federal gas tax for highway funds, which I think is 18 cents a gallon. The federal government brings in $100 million a day on that, so if that does expire, there will be absolutely no federal highway funding. But there's a bill in progress to do a 2-year extension on that. And he went out for quite some time on pension reform, which was interesting to hear from a Democratic Chicago mayor. But it was an interesting meeting, so hopefully I'll be going quarterly and I'll report back on the Transportation Committee issues and at the caucus in general. So with that, do we have any staff reports?
Just one item, Your Honor. Hometown Days is next weekend, as everybody knows. Starts on Thursday at 5 p.m., ends on Sunday at about 10:30 p.m. With the fireworks finale. We've got a packed schedule, stuff for everybody in the family. And a special thank you this year to Boomba, who sponsored our fireworks, and to Raging Waves, who sponsored the stage. So those are our 2 big sponsors this year. That's all I have.
Any other staff? Chime in or additional business? Yes, Ms. Walszewski.
I have a couple items. I mentioned this to Bart, and I just want to touch base with you. Is there a way we could get what the hotel tax is being paid out to the Tourism Bureau? Like from January, is there like how much every month, or is it a monthly payment?
It is. That amount is 90% of every dollar that we get in hotel taxes, and that amount per year is $35,000 to the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Is it capped at $35,000?
No, it's 90% of all taxes. And that was actually something I inquired about this week to see which other towns
I just noticed it's a sizable payment.
Yes, some do and some don't. Aurora has the same agreement we do for 90% of their hotel motel taxes, and their payment each year is upwards of $200,000. So,
Who was that? Aurora?
Aurora Tourism. It's just we're paying a lot out. I wondered if we could get like a lump sum if we can get it from accounting. I was just curious.
Yep, $35,000.
And are we getting?
So that's $3,000 a month essentially.
That's okay.
On that note, Jackie, before we go on to something else, we will be talking to the Convention Bureau. This was a topic of conversation on the train coming home today. I sat with Mayor LaFleur and Michelini from Montgomery. Oswego actually pulled out of the Aurora Convention Bureau. Montgomery is in it, but they have no hotels. So it's basically free advertising for them. So LaFleur also mentioned that there's a way by voter referendum to use that hotel tax for other things.
If you're home rule, you can do it.
In your home rule, yes, but can you do it on an individual mandate like that?
Not to my knowledge.
I didn't think so either.
Not to my knowledge. I do not think
Okay.
that's correct. But home rule, we could change it in a heartbeat.
But the Visitors Bureau has a new director coming in, and we will be bringing him in for a conversation.
We haven't had like a report from them for a very long time, or I haven't even, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has seen any.
Their director, Sue Voss, has been very sick, and
Okay.
she just recently stepped down, and new director's coming in.
I just want to make sure, are we getting our, are we getting good advertisement? Because I haven't seen anything come
I
up.
don't know, do we have a liaison to that board?
I believe that's in their bylaws. I think that's one of them that is selected by either the mayor or the city council at whole. So I'll have to check on that one.
Is anyone interested to be a liaison? It's actually a cool board to be a part of. I was liaison for some time, but their meetings are in mornings. They're like a third Thursday morning or something each month. Is anyone interested?
What time?
Like 9 o'clock or something? If you'd like to go, Rose, I don't know, can I point tonight?
Not on the agenda.
Okay, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, if it requires city council confirmation, no. But if it's just a mayoral appointment,
All right. Okay.
we'll check.
I just, caught the payments and it's like, whoa. It's a lot of money now that, we have more hotels. So.
Yeah,
We
and
did discuss that I think you remember a couple of years
Yeah.
ago about even participating.
Right, that's what brought it to mind, and then when we started to pay a little bit more attention at the buildings now.
And our contract is up, I believe, in a year with them.
Okay.
It was a 5-year contract in 2007.
And for 38 grand, I at least want to see a cover story or something.
Yeah,
like that. You know?
that's kind of what I was concerned with. I'll have a report.
That's neat. Did you have something else?
Yeah, my other thing, did we talk about Game Farm Road? Were we going to get some patching on Game Farm Road?
We are indeed, I'm meeting with representatives from EEI on Thursday to finalize it, and hopefully DEP will be able to come in after the full time.
Okay.
We don't want to write before because.
No, well, and I was
it
just,
goes bad.
I was going down there and it's really bad. So, okay, and then my last thing, I was called to my attention by a resident. They were looking at the park board draft minutes that are on the website. And their concern was that it's being proposed for families, a reduced fee for financial hardship. And they were kind of concerned, well, senior, we've looked at our senior garbage, why are we doing this for the rec center? So I just wanted to express that concern. Good
I will
constituent.
forward that along.
Okay. And that's all. Thank you.
Any other additional business?
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Barbara, Eric, what's the plan in 34 up at Copley? I mean, they're digging up the other side of the road. Are they going to finish it all off because it's kind of pieced together?
Yes, that is a temporary pavement. I believe there will be permanent pavement and striping, permanent striping.
How far down? Could we roll it? The ruts are, because about 20 feet past where they first started, there's a real bad patch as you get toward the light going west.
Yeah, let me check on the site so I don't speak up.
So is that DOT or is that Copley or?
That's approved through the state as well as Cottage Project.
Yeah, so I don't know if they'll go down that far, because again, you'll look down, because if they just fix it where their place is, then there's going to be like a good patch of bad road that I hope they would fix it all at once.
Okay, I will find out.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no other additional business. I will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session for employment, collective bargaining, or collective negotiating matters, litigation, purchase or lease of real property, setting the price for sale or lease of property.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?